Let's start.
Yeah.
All right. It's very nice to see all of you again. I've started recording now without anybody reminding me for once. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So last time we had talked about how pressures and temperatures connect to each other and how on Earth there are generalized patterns of high and low
Yes.
pressure,
Ah,
and because of that,
I
because
don't know, Pa. You are missing it. It's okay. விட்டுரு அவ்வளவுதான். விட்டுரு அவ்வளவுதான். And start it. It's going to get recorded. சொல்லிடு அவ்வளவுதான்.
so because of this, there's a lot of movement of air, and when air moves, we call it wind. So that's what we were looking at last time. So let me just open that animation again. Now, have you both had a chance to play with these animations I sent you?
Yes, sir. I downloaded Gone Player. It's opening
Is
for
it
me
working
now.
all right? Good, good. How
Yes,
about
sir.
you,
It's
Advait?
working.
Advait, what kind of laptop are you using?
Like uh, it's a Windows laptop.
Ah,
Windows laptop. And you're able to play the
ah.
animations. Uh, Vidya, can you mute? Okay. So, Sachin, there is no problem playing these animations on your computer. Is that correct?
No problems. It's working fine.
Advait, how about you? Any problems playing them?
Uh, they were all playing okay only, but one of the animations, if it said downloaded, but if I pressed it, it was not playing.
Which one?
Some IZCT animation.
ITCZ, huh? Okay. Okay. What are you using to play these animations? What software are you using? What app?
Uh, some converter, I think, cloud
Ah,
converter.
best thing what I will do is I think I gave you a link in the email to something called GOM Player, GOM Player. Just write it down. Download GOM Player. It works just fine. Okay. So have you written it down or will you remember it?
I'll bring my notebook and I'll write it down.
From now on, have your notebook, everything ready with you when you come to this session.
Not sure.
Just pull it out and just write it down. GOM Player.
Okay.
GOM Player. And let me know once you have written it down. We were looking at, let me share the screen with you. We were looking last time we finished looking at the Earth-Sun relationships, and we looked at, briefly, I'll recap what we looked at in terms of the wind. Okay. So I started off with what is called the Hadley cell circulation, where you have a low pressure along the equator because there is maximum heat. The sun is above the equator at this point in this animation. Okay. Uh, and because there is low heating, the air expands and rises, therefore it is a low pressure. And we can see the low pressure in a different form, and that is the formation of clouds. And I'll show you a couple of pictures also of it. Okay? And all the links that I show you today, I'll send it to you in an email. All right. So as the air heats up, it expands and rises. As it rises closer to the surface from where it is rising, the pressure is decreased. It is low pressure. Okay? And remember, we said that temperature and pressure have an inverse relationship. When the temperature goes up, the pressure decreases. Okay? As the air rises, it begins to cool. As it cools, it begins to contract again. And it has to come back because the air becomes heavier. But it can't come back the same way that it went for two reasons. One, there is more and more hot air pushing it from behind. And two, Earth is rotating. Because of both of this, what happens is as it goes up, it splits into two main branches, comes down either side. Where it comes down on either side, near the Tropic of Cancer and near the Tropic of Capricorn, there you have high pressure because the air is pushing down. Do you understand how the low and high pressures uh, alternate here? Okay, admit your camera needs to be on because I need to be able to know if you're able to follow what I'm saying. Also, the light needs to be on you. It is behind you right now. Okay. So do you understand how the pressure varies with latitude? So we are presuming the sun is at the equator at this point. Then if we go to the mid-level, the air that is coming down itself gets split again because of Earth's rotation. And we see some parts of it come from the northeast towards the southwest. Some parts of it go from the west to the east. Same thing happens in the southern hemisphere also because of Earth's rotation. There is a phenomenon called Coriolis effect, which I'm not going to go into because it gets too complicated very quickly. Okay? So therefore, wherever air is descending, you will see it's a high pressure shown with H. Wherever it is rising, it is L, low pressure. And you will see along the equator, there is this belt of white color that is called the Intertropical Convergence Zone, or ITCZ or ITCZ. I keep saying ITCZ because I've just become used to it, that's all. There's nothing sacred about that. Do you follow all this so far? Yeah, okay. So now if you go to the higher latitudes, there are what are called the polar easterlies that come from the polar high pressure cold area. So very high pressure winds, but there is a low pressure here towards which they move. So polar winds move towards this low pressure. The westerlies move towards this low pressure. Likewise, in the southern hemisphere, the polar easterlies move to the low pressure. So do the westerlies. So this is called the polar front, the white part of it. That's where the winds meet. Then we looked at the upper atmosphere and how there is what is called a polar front jet stream. This is a huge river of wind that moves towards the east. So it's a westerly wind. It circles Earth, as you can see here. Okay, this is one in the southern hemisphere. There's one in the northern hemisphere. So notice that it's not a nice, neat, even belt. It waves, it goes up and down. Sometimes, due to various conditions, that polar jet stream comes further south towards America and then goes back up. When that happens, America gets blasted with phenomenal cold temperatures. So when we have that kind of situation, then we have enormous amount of snowfall, lots of sleet, power outage, all sorts of problems occur in America. Okay, so it may happen. It also happens with the southern polar jet stream, but there is very little land here. Most of it is sea, so we don't get to experience it that much. But most of the landmass of Earth is in the northern hemisphere, which is where most people live, and that is why we make such a big dance and drama about, oh, there's such cold weather in North America and Russia and things. Okay? Do you understand this basic general pattern of how winds move? The only way to really understand this is to keep on observing it. Whenever you, every day, make some 10-15 minutes of time, open these animations, look at them, and keep thinking about why this pattern occurs. Ultimately, it is in this situation, it is showing the sun is above the equator, which is where the lowest pressure you can get will be there. Everything else follows. So as the sun's position shifts northward or southward, that ITCZ also shifts northward or southward, which is what I'll show you now. Okay. Can you see this diagram? Are you able to read the text in this diagram?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Oh, yes, I can make it bigger. All right. So this is, look at this word. This is important for us, equinoxes. Which are the months in which the equinoxes occur? In which month do the two equinoxes occur? Remember the Earth-Sun diagram animation that you saw?
Yeah. September 21
Ah,
and
And
March 21.
March
March 21. So on September 21 and March 21, this is the situation where are you able to see my cursor now, that arrow?
Yeah.
Okay. So the sun is directly over the equator. Maximum heating is happening there. So what we have done is, remember earlier we looked at it on a globe. We have taken it, shifted it this way and sliced through it. Do you understand? We saw it around the globe. We have now turned it this way and taken a slice and we're looking at it. So we will take that. The heating is very high here. Therefore, the pressure becomes low. The air is rising, shown in red color to show that it is warm air. As it rises, it's also picking up a lot of moisture from the surface. That moisture, as it rises up, condenses and becomes clouds. Clouds are not water vapor. Clouds are water droplets. Remember that. And notice as it shifts, as it splits into two, each of these is called a Hadley cell, named after a meteorologist, I suppose, who identified this is how it works. So sun is directly above the equator. You can probably make out the yellow spot there. So high pressure on the equator, low pressure on the equator, but the air is descending here. Therefore, there is high pressure on 30 degrees north and 30 degrees south. But as the air comes here, it gets warmed up again because it's coming to warmer surface. So it goes towards the low pressure here. Because the pressure is low, the air moves in here to occupy that space. Likewise, it moves in this side because the pressure is low here. So these are alternating. When the sun is directly above which latitude in June? The sun is directly above which latitude in June?
Tropic of Cancer.
Tropic of Cancer. Very good. And what's the degree value of that?
23.5
Degrees?
north.
You have to say the full thing.
23.5 degree north.
Degrees, plural. 23.5 degrees
North.
Good. So that's where the maximum heating is. That's where that low pressure has shifted now. See this low pressure here, it was at the equator. It is now in the northern hemisphere. In December, which is the latitude that is getting direct sunlight?
Uh, Tropic of Capricorn.
Tropic of Capricorn. Degree value?
23.5 degrees south.
Oh. So you see that this ITCZ was at the equator. In June, it has shifted towards the northern hemisphere. In December, it has shifted towards the southern hemisphere. So we have seen this in a slide, in a section. Let's go back to the globe and look at it now. Look at what it looks like, right? Okay. Give me a moment. Let me just pull that up. Okay. This is the animation. Okay. Can you see the screen? Are you able to read this text here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Are you able to read these degrees and all that? Okay. So what are these values showing? The 60 degrees, 30 degrees, 0 degrees here. There are values of what?
Dr. Bala,
Yeah.
are two of them waiting to enter? Can you just check, because your screen sharing, you might not see them waiting. Just
Okay, let me see if I can. Mhm. I am not able to get back to that. Screen. Give me a moment. Let me see. if I can go to it. I have to stop sharing this. Now, okay. Are you able to see? Resume. Ready? Okay.
Yes.
Now, the question I was asking was 60 degrees, 30 degrees, and so on and so forth here, these numbers. What do these numbers show us? What are they showing us? What are these numbers referring to here? Where I'm pointing.
Is it the degree value of the latitude?
Degree value of
The latitudes.
the latitudes. Very good. And these? Is 0, 60, 120,
Longitudes.
longitude values. Another way you can figure out that their longitude values is that latitudes, the maximum value you can have for a latitude is how much? How many degrees?
90.
90 degrees south or north. Right? What's the maximum value you can have for longitudes?
180 degrees.
180 degrees.
East to west.
East or west. So now if we look at 120 degrees, it's obviously not latitude. It's got to be longitude, right? Now, uh, this map is not a very good map in that it shows countries, as you go away from the equator, the countries appear bigger and bigger. We'll look at that another time. We'll look at another animation where you can actually what the true sizes of countries are. We'll do that later on. For right now, I'll show you the Hadley cell profile. Remember this? Sun is at the equator. There's a lot of heating here, and the air is rising. As it rises, there is a low pressure here. As it goes higher and higher in altitude, it then splits into two portions, comes back down towards Earth, approximately around 30 degrees latitude, north and south. And therefore, you have high pressure there. Okay. So now if I turn on the pressure diagram, pressure labels, you will see. All along here, you have high pressure. All along this, you have the low pressure. So the air that is coming down pushes into the low pressure area. Generally, we think of low pressure sucks in the high pressure air. That is not the case, I believe. It is the high pressure winds rush towards the low pressure area to fill the gap, to equalize the pressure. Okay. Now I'll show you the ITCZ. So in January, this is where the low pressure is. But instead of being a straight line, straight circle around Earth, it waves. What do you think that might be? Instead of being an even line, the line goes up and down. It seems to be very haphazard. It is not haphazard. It varies. What do you think that might be? Any ideas? Advait, your video needs to be on. I need to have at least some video to see if you're following things. Okay, Sachin, any idea why that might be? Do you want to speculate?
Because of in one place the wind can be flowing fast and in the other place it may be flowing slow.
Well, this is not showing wind speed, it is showing wind pressure. And this is a low pressure area. This purple line is a low pressure area. Because it is low pressure, winds from these high pressure areas are moving towards the low pressure. So it's coming from the subtropical high towards this and from this high towards that. That's when the winds then begin to, they come there, they collide and they move around. Remember, we saw the earlier thing on a globe. But why is that low pressure not a nice, neat, uniform belt? Why does it wave about like that? Any idea? Just speculate. I mean, we have not discussed it before, but I want to see if you have any ideas why that might be. Do you understand the question?
Unmute and speak. Unmute. Both of you, please unmute yourself.
Keep it
Yes,
unmuted.
sir,
Yeah.
Do
Yes, sir,
not
I can.
mute. Sachin and Advait, please do not mute yourself.
Okay, Sachin, go ahead.
Yes.
Sachin, go ahead.
Yes, sir, I could understand the question.
Okay. Why not put this? It would make sense for it to be a complete uniform belt, but it isn't. That's the problem with nature. Is usually things are not uniform, neatly laid out. It's all over the place, and we have to somehow make sense of all of this, right? Even when we draw this line, we're making a very general line. It's even more complicated in nature. Right? So I'll give you one piece of information. See if that helps you figure it out. When we look at how Earth's surface gets heated, one is the position of the sun. In this case, the sun is directly above the equator. That's one position. That's one point. Second, when the sun is directly above a particular latitude, in this case, equator, the sun's light is falling directly at 90 degrees angle. So this is the surface of Earth. Sunlight is falling vertically. That is the most intense heating. Yes, that is the most intense heating. But and that is point number three. Land and water do not heat in the same way. Land heats up much more quickly and cools down much more quickly. That's the nature of solids. We think of land as solid. For right now, let's leave it there. And water takes a longer time to heat up. It also takes a longer time to cool down. So if you have water, land like that, the heating pattern will be different. Will it not? So if the heating pattern is different, the low pressure pattern also will be different, won't it? So that is why you see along the ocean, then you come to the land, and even on the land, it's not uniform. So here you have the Andes Mountains. Here you have the East African mountains, and there is a tropical rainforest here, So what kind of cover we have on the land also matters. So latitude, angle at which sunlight is falling, land or water that is getting heated, the nature of the land surface that is getting heated. Plus, remember, in the oceans, there are warm currents and cold currents flowing. They also affect the temperature of the oceans. So, which means this low pressure belt is not uniform. It depends on local conditions, and that is why it is in a different, it's in a very wavy pattern. Understood?
Mhm.
Now, I'm going to show you. If, let me start with March 21, approximately there. That is the time of the equinox in the northern hemisphere, correct? The March equinox. What do we call it in the northern hemisphere, that March equinox?
Spring equinox,
Spring equinox, very good. And in the southern hemisphere, what do we call it? The March equinox, what do we call it in the southern hemisphere?
autumn equinox,
Autumn equinox or autumnal
Wow.
equinox. Autumnal. The spring equinox is also called vernal. Vernal equinox, autumnal equinox, depending on which hemisphere you're in. All right, now the sun is exactly at the equator, equinox. Look at the pressure belt, the ITCZ, and its shape. And all along the ITCZ, it is low pressure. Surrounding on either side, you have high pressure areas. So the winds are rushing from here towards the ITCZ. They can't go straight because Earth is rotating. So they get deflected. Right? So now I'm going to switch the animation on until we come to June 21st. And just watch it carefully. Watch how all the low pressures and the high pressures move along with the heating system. Just observe. June 21. You notice here it is in the northern part of South America. Here it is on the southern edge of the Sahara Desert. And then here in India, over the Indian subcontinent, it goes well above the Himalaya onto the Tibetan plateau. And then down along this path, and then we get into the ocean. the Pacific Ocean. So the low pressure has shifted upward because the sun is directly at 26.5 degrees north, which is the June solstice. Sun is directly above the Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degrees north. So now winds are moving from this high pressure area, these high pressure areas, towards the low pressure. When they do that, they are moving over the Indian Ocean, the Arabian Sea, and then towards India. They're moving over the Indian Ocean into the Bay of Bengal and into India and Bangladesh and all these other areas. When they're moving over these oceans, the oceans are very warm. They're giving off a lot of moisture. So these winds are picking that moisture up and just pushing it up in there because it's a gas, it rises. So these winds are bringing that moisture towards land where there is low pressure. But at this time, in northern parts of India, the heat is enormous, extremely hot weather. Climate is very hot at this time.
Charge.
I'm sorry? Okay, so towards that low pressure area, we are now seeing low pressure area is very hot. And then we are seeing these massive winds picking up moisture and flowing towards the heated parts of the subcontinent, the land area. Along the way, there are problems that happen because of which we get rains. We look at that later on. For right now, do you understand how in June, the low pressure belt called the ITCZ moves along with the sun's position towards the northern hemisphere, where until the sun reaches the Tropic of Cancer maximum. We see that now. So all the areas that are in the way of the winds coming over large areas of water will get a lot of rain, provided locally there are conditions that will make the rains give up that will make the winds give up their moisture. We'll look at that later on. Do you understand this much now? Now we'll go back to September equinox. Notice what happens. We're almost back to the same kind of situation, but in the south now. Right? Now we go to December solstice. Notice now the low pressure is much further south than India, than South Asia. High pressure is over there. Therefore, the winds are moving from the high pressure towards this low pressure area. Except this is all cold land. The water in the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea are still warm because they take a long time to cool. So these winds are very cold winds. If we did not have the Himalaya there, in Chennai, you would be truly freezing in Chennai. Bangalore would be very cold also. But because the water here is much warmer than the land, the pressure on the water is still low. So this, as it moves here, gets caught up here, and then we have cyclones in December, which is when Bengaluru and Chennai all get lots of rainfall. Most of Chennai's rainfall comes from cyclones. We'll look at more of these active details in just a short moment here. Do you understand so far? Okay.
Yes.
So this low pressure, notice here in South America, it has moved further south. Not much movement here. The range of movement is not much, but you still get a lot of rainfall. And then you have in Africa, notice this low pressure, high pressure. In this area, there is not much scope for rain, which is why you have a desert. What's the name of the desert?
Sahara.
Sahara is here in the north. This one. Kalahari. Kalahari Desert. Okay.
Sir, what is the name?
Kalahari.
Kalahari Desert.
Kalahari. Kalahari. You understand now? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to you where rainfall occurs. So the lighter the color, yellow color is less than 25 millimeters. The blue color is more than 150 millimeters. So in December, It's in December 21, approximately there. Notice where this maximum rainfall on the Amazon rainforest here, the Central African rainforest, the rainforest of Northern Australia, no such heavy rain on the subcontinent, no such heavy rain in South Asia. It's all yellow. Have I sent you this animation already or not?
This
Have I
one I'm
sent,
not seeing.
have I sent you this animation?
I don't.
If
I don't
sent it,
remember
seeing it.
you would have received it.
Okay.
Yeah. Check and see. Let me know if I haven't sent it. I'll send it to you again. All right. But now, this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start again at March equinox, approximately there. So notice all the areas where there is enormous amount of rainfall. Along the eastern side of India, we have some amount of rainfall occurring here because of the presence of the Bay of Bengal. I think here the pressure is low, the air is rising, not coming down. Notice how in the Amazon, the northern part of the Amazon rainforest is getting a lot of rainfall. Central African rainforest is getting rainfall. I'm going to go until June, until the northern solstice. Notice again, the northern part of the Amazon getting phenomenal amounts of rainfall. Central Africa getting, this is the African rainforest belt, lot of rainfall there. You notice just above this, just near 30 degrees north latitude, that's where the Sahara begins. No rainfall for the Sahara, which partly explains the presence of a desert there. No rainfall, right? But look here, the low pressure, look at the amount of rainfall here on South Asia, most of South Asia. Pakistan gets a little bit, not as much as India and Myanmar and Sri Lanka. Phenomenal amounts of rain. Part of the reason we look at it later on is the way the land is structured. Latitude is only one component of it. So now let's go back to September equinox. Same thing. Rainfall moves. Notice you still have some amount of rainfall. The monsoon that was coming from the southwest is now going back. It's called the retreating monsoon. Now the winds are coming from the northeast. Northeastern winds are not carrying much moisture. By the time you come to December 21, hardly any rainfall in South Asia. Hardly any rainfall. Most of the rainfall is now shifted south. So here you have very low rainfall and you have the Atacama Desert. Sorry, here, Atacama Desert. Yeah, very low rainfall. So notice how I want to let this thing run all the way now. We'll start from January. See that? Run it again. Northward movement, lots of rainfall in South Asia, retreating monsoon, less and less rainfall. Notice how the low pressure follows the ITCZ. You understand how this mechanism works now? So when you actually open this animation and look at it, pay attention to all of these things. All right. Let me stop sharing this and I'll share something else with you now, which is very interesting also. Give me a moment, let me find that.
Just as a side note, it looked as though the earth is breathing up and down.
It's exactly that. It's exactly that. So here, let me show you what the ITCZ looks like in an image. Earlier, we have only lines that we drew as diagrams. Can you see this belt of clouds?
Yes.
That is the ITCZ. That's where the low pressure is. The equator passes through South America, approximately there. And look at how it looks different. In July, this is what the ITCZ looks like. In January, this is what it looks like. Part of the reason is that the majority of the land mass on Earth is in the northern hemisphere. which is why the majority of human population also is in the northern hemisphere. Do you see how much variation occurs because of so many different factors? Sunlight, latitude, land and water arrangement, the surface of land, what kind of surface we have, all of these things. In addition to all this, we have to look at human involvement also. We'll look at that later on. Okay, so now if we go to the, this is a satellite picture from the India Meteorological Bureau Department. They have amazing research on their site. You see all these clouds. Wherever you see all these clouds, those are all low pressure areas where the water is rising. Water vapor is rising because of heat at the surface, which means they are shown under them there is low pressure. And the fact you see this, if you look at it closely on your own screens, you will see you can actually make out the direction in which they seem to be moving. Yeah. So you will see this movement is going that way. All of these. This is a single shot image. Only their focus is India, so you don't get a 360 world detail. So I'll send you this link also. You should check out their thing. And here we come to, this is too confused. The image is not good. Did either of you open the windy.com site yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you able to make out all the winds that are moving at various, were you able to play with the altitude, looking at 3,000 meters and all that? So that keep
Yeah.
doing it because that's the only way to understand it. Keep playing with it. So you will see here, I don't know if you can make out India. Here is India. You will, this is at the surface. I'll take it to 3,000 meters altitude. I don't know if you can make out, there's an H here, a low here, L here rather, H here, L here and so on. So these low pressure and high pressure are not neatly organized belts. Pressures vary within the atmosphere. So wherever you see these lines converging, those lines are usually converging towards the low pressure area. So what I would like you to do when you play with this is observe the patterns. Look at this pattern here. This, especially the south. Remember we talked about the circumpolar belt and all that? This is what you see here. This is real time. This is actually as of 11 a.m. today. Very recent. Okay. So play with it, click on this, click on that, whatever. But look at what it is showing you. Every time you change something, observe what it is showing you. And if you come up with questions, write them down and ask. Okay. The important thing is that you should come up with questions rather than just be able to answer questions. You should be able to ask questions. Okay. All right. So we have looked at the pattern of wind movements. We have looked at how temperature and pressure vary with latitude. We have looked at how that pressure, that latitude, temperature, those variations can create a belt of low pressure, and how that belt of low pressure called the ITCZ is the area around which a lot of winds converge. And when those winds pass over very hot oceans or other bodies of water, they pick up a lot of the water vapor that's coming from there. They bring it onto land, and if the conditions are right, and what those conditions are, we will see next time. If the conditions are right, all that moisture that they picked up on the oceans, all that moisture will drop on the land. When that rain happens, we have what is called the monsoon, because that seasonally it changes. In June, it blows in from southwest. In winter, after September, it flows from the northeast. The direction changes. That's why we call it monsoon. Okay? Seasonally changing wind movements. That's what we call monsoon. Okay. So I'm going to send you all of these links. You need to actually sit down and spend time with it every day. Don't say next time just before the class session, I'll spend 15 minutes on this. No, every day it must be religiously done, because that's the only way you'll get it going in your mind as a map. You should be able to predict when this wind is moving next. You understand? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to stop recording at this point.